we're lifting out tomorrow here at Portland to do some, to look at the bottom of the keel, to install our new fridge, keel-cooled fridge system, and because Boatfolk are going to do some fantastic work for us on the boat, which is just incredible, and I'll tell you more about that in a bit.
So we need to take our head sail off so they can lift us out so it doesn't get damaged in the process.
And the other reason is, as you know, we work closely with Precision Sails. We've got a Precision Sails mainsail, and we're going to be getting a new head sail,
which we're super excited about, but it means it needs to come down for us to measure for our new head sail.
In here, I have a thingy, and this thingy is a bronze keel cooler. Now, this is because we're now working with Penguin Refrigeration, and they've sent us this keel cooler and the fridge kit, because as you know, the only refrigeration that we have on Ocean Melody is our Bluetti refrigerator, which is amazing, by the way. If you want a portable one, amazing, right? But what we're going to need ultimately is a fridge and a freezer, and so what we are going to do is reinstate the built-in fridge, which is in the galley, the top loader, which has never worked since we had the boat. Now, in discussions with them, rather than fit an air-cooled one, which is going to have to work very hard when we get to a hot country, we're fitting a keel-cooled one. Keel-cooled, it doesn't go in the keel, it goes in the bottom of the boat. But that means drilling a 40mm hole in the bottom of the boat to fit this. So I've got some ideas for that. I've ordered a new hole saw, and that is partly why we're lifting out today. The other reason that we're lifting out is because Boatfolk have very kindly offered to change our engine mounts for us. They're a little bit old, they've been on the boat a very long time. They're not dangerous, but they could do with a change. Hopefully that'll make a difference to the vibration and noise in the boat, but they're going to do that, which is amazing. Also gives us a chance to properly check all the through holes, the cutlass bearing, the prop, because I checked them myself when we were in Deganwy, but it'll be nice to get their sort of expert view on whether those things are good. Check all the anodes again, and also check the fibreglass work and the copper coat work that I did when we did the keel repair earlier in the year. Right, we are coming out the water any minute. Can you give me an idea of the weight? Because every lift we've had so far, they haven't been able to weigh it for us. Let's go and see if they'll let me know how much it weighs.
Come on in.
What's the verdict on the weight? Right, so while they're power washing, I better get out of their way. The scales here work, so now we know that the boat weighs between 16 and 17 tons. He said it was 8 tons on one strop and 9 on the other-ish. It's not massively accurate, but it gives us a ballpark figure. Between 16 and 17 tons. We're out of the water again. Look at that. It always surprises me just how vast this boat is when we're out of the water. So it's Saturday. No, it's not, it's Friday. We're going to the Southampton Boat Show tomorrow, and I want to do a couple of little jobs. But I'm not actually starting the fitting of the keel-cooled fridge unit until Sunday or Monday. But there's a couple of things I want to do before we go to the show. Now, as I mentioned earlier, the way that this fridge works is it uses seawater, and I've got to put that into a hole in the boat. So the layout of the boat is this. This is on the port side. Here's our galley, and in the corner there is the top loading fridge. Here's the galley sink, here's the galley worktop, and just forward of the galley worktop is the saloon seat. And under this saloon seat is where I've got the paddle wheel. So that there, God, it doesn't have to get grubby under here. That there is the paddle wheel attachment, and that simply unscrews. That's the actual paddle wheel itself. You can see that spins as water passes by it, but that doesn't matter whether that's here or further back in the boat. So what I'm probably going to do then is mount the keel cooler here in the same compartment, so we've still got access to it. This is the location of the paddle wheel, so I could either put it here next to the paddle wheel, or there is the galley sink drain. I could put it here, just a bit lower. But I want to be able to know that I can get my spanner on and tighten it up really nice and tight. What I'm going to do now is just show you very quickly what's in each of the bags that comes from Penguin. In one bag you get this assembly, as you've seen, which is the keel cooler unit. And in this bag you get the actual compressor. In this little bag here is the thermostat, so you can see that's got a little potentiometer on there, I think. And then in this final bag you've got the condenser plate itself, which we've actually opted for this one with a sort of little mini freezer unit. So we'll have this, will then turn the whole box into a chiller, a refrigerator. We'll have a freezer in this section, and we'll also then use our Bluetti. We can then use our Bluetti as a freezer. What I'm going to do now is pop over to the Southampton Boat Show and speak to the guys at Penguin just to get some last minute tips on the installation before we start fitting it. So here we are at the Southampton Boat Show, and I'm on a mission to find the guys from Penguin Refrigeration.
Yes.
To speak to them about how to crack on with this Penguin fridge installation, make sure that I don't mess it up. This is Chris from Penguin Refrigeration. I've read the instructions and I've hauled all the bits out as you've seen in the galley. I just heard you saying that it's foolproof or idiot-proof, yes, which is good because I'm an idiot. Why don't you show us the system that we've got? Okay. I think what you've supplied us with is one of these, yep. One of them and one of them.
Yep. That's the standard kit now that
so, 40mm hole?
40mm hole.
Brilliant. I've bought my 40mm hole saw.
Absolutely. A ton of Sikaflex. You want a full, to basically fully isolate the back
and mask this off first.
Mask it off first.
And push that up and mask it, seal in the groove.
Yes, absolutely, yes.
And then over the top of it.
Yeah, absolutely.
And we've got the one with the anodes, although you would still, let's say, bond that to the negative.
Yes.
Anyway, yeah.
The anodes we would regard as indicator anodes, so if they're starting to fizz away, then you need to...
And we can buy more anodes off you later. Is there any restriction on the depth? Can this just be literally just below the waterline?
Yeah, as long as it's permanently under water.
Right, as long as it doesn't come out when we hit low.
Exactly, yes. It wants to be nice and low down, so it's,
as deep as possible.
Always below the waterline.
Okay, and then connecting it all up.
It's dead easy, so it's colour coded and it's all hand done, so everything's pre-charged, pre-pressurised with refrigerant, and the couplings are just a case of pushing them together. make sure that it's not cross-threaded.
Yeah.
Oh, 100%. And then it's a hand tighten.
And you've got one shot at it. Forget it if you.
No. You can undo them, do them up again.
Really?
Yeah, absolutely. Just make sure that the two nuts are touching.
Okay.
Make sure it's fully released the needle valve.
Yeah.
Once that's like that, and that's good to go.
Right. Brilliant. And that's it. It's on.
And that's it. It's on.
And then just power up the.
Power up. So 12-volt supply, good solid cable, because when
Yeah.
the compressor tries to start, it pulls quite a high load of amps on startup. So maybe up to 12 amps. So you connect the thermostat to there. There's no polarity, so you can't get it.
Oh, right. Okay.
With the mechanical thermostat. That would power it up and off you go.
Okay, that's fantastic. It just, it genuinely seems foolproof. The only thing I don't think I've got, I might have to make one, is the mounting plate.
Right, okay.
It's mounting plate for the compressor.
Well, we've got, we can supply those separately. Yeah.
We'll give you a call on Monday morning.
An email. And
Yeah.
if we can get one of those, that would then go under the sink.
Yeah, nice.
It'd be ideal.
Yeah.
Thanks very much, Chris,
Thank you
for the support, and look forward to fitting the fridge and being able to actually have some cool drinks.
Fantastic.
Yes.
While we're on the cradle in the yard in Portland, we can't sleep on the boat, so we put out a plea for help a few weeks ago, and somebody has offered to let us stay on their boat here in Weymouth Marina. Nestor has agreed to let us stay on his boat,
Yes.
Which is fantastic. And what is your boat?
It's a Sadler 26.
Sadler 26.
Yeah, we chose it just because it's sort of a mix of sort of a cruiser racer. But
Yeah. Melissa used to race on one, didn't you?
No.
Oh, really?
Sigma.
Oh, it was a Sigma.
Yeah.
Sigma 33.
Yeah, they got a few of them.
Yeah.
And what's impressive, because we're changing our bow roller, is that your bow roller is beefier than the one on ours.
On our 4-6 foot boat, yeah. While we're here, Nestor, look at this amazing boat that Nestor's letting us stay on. Tell us about your YouTube channel.
Yeah, so basically, I kind of just do bits of sailing here and there. It's a mix of things. It's racing, so there's quite an exciting video of the Round the Island race where we had sort of 40 knots of wind, so I'd recommend that one. But you can see a boat tour of this, which is where I live on for like 2 or 3 nights a week while I go to school, and then sort of into the future, I think it's probably only going to get better because I've got my gap year next year where hopefully I'll buy sort of a bit of a project boat, need to fix it up, and then all I really want to do is go around the UK in that, and that's basically the plan. And then maybe at uni live on a boat or something like that.
Fantastic.
It's all sailing pretty much.
All sailing related and all based on this boat.
Mostly on this boat, yeah.
Did you do round the island on this boat?
Not on this boat. That was I was crewing on a Sigma 38, so bigger thing. I think on this boat that would have been pretty tough.
Sailing in the Menai Straits. I saw a video that you were.
Yeah, so that was I'd met someone through crewing on another boat. He had a 38 foot Moody.
Yeah.
So I went up with him from Milford Haven up.
It looked quite choppy as
up
you were
to
going
Bangor.
over the bar.
Yeah, that bit was actually quite scary, and we had sort of 3 knots of tide right on our beam. And the
coming over Carnarvon Bar.
Yeah, exactly.
I've been through there in some very rough conditions.
Yeah, but it's tricky because you can't just sort of keep straight because you have to have them on your beam.
Yeah, exactly.
And it's marked. I mean, of course, because there's always
you can't put the nose into the swell.
Exactly. Exactly. So I would not have wanted to be in a smaller boat.
I've been through there in a 30-footer in a 4.6.
Really?
Yeah, with 5 metre swell.
Oh my gosh.
It was horrendous.
And what's the name of your YouTube channel?
It is just simply Nestor and his boat with spaces.
Yeah.
Nestor, N-E-S-T.
We'll put a link to that at the bottom of the screen and in the description. So can everybody right now go and subscribe to Nestor as a big thank you for letting him stay on his boat.
The other way around, for letting us stay.
Can everybody right now go and subscribe to Nestor's channel for letting us stay on his boat while we're doing the work on Ocean Melody.
Thank you so much. I'd really appreciate it.
Yeah. Now, tomorrow it's going to rain a lot. I stuck a tarp over the cockpit enclosure and kind of pegged it down to try and help a little bit, but by all accounts tomorrow it's going to rain a lot. So I want to get this at least in a position where I can mount it fairly quickly the following day. Got to drill a hole with one of them, 40mm hole. And I'm going to be mounting it down there next to the paddle wheel. I spent ages deliberating over that, and I think that is definitely the best place for it. It's got to be close enough to the compressor. There's specified distances between this and the compressor, and then the compressor and the cool box itself. However, I'm going to be mounting that in that hole down there, so I'm going to drill my hole, and then I want to paint that area so that it's a nice clean place to fit this on Thursday, and that will give all of tomorrow for that paint to dry. This is the area where I'm going to mount it. See, that hole there is for the paddle wheel, which is the spinny thing that tells you how fast you're going through the water. I want to remove all of these pipes. I've got a whole roll of new red pipe and blue pipe to replace all this old white manky stuff, and I've replaced a few lengths as you can see there, but I'm going to remove, so this is the cold water feed closest to the tank wall, and this is the hot water feed to the tap. So I'm going to remove all of that, get it all out the way. I don't think I'm going to change all the copper pipe at this point because I don't want to get down a rabbit hole of doing a job that I don't need to do. But yeah, that's the plan. And then hopefully there should be plenty of room for this slightly lower, about here, I think. But the first thing to do is get rid of all of those pipes and just kind of clear the way a little bit, make my working space a bit easier. And then I want to paint this out so that it's got all of tomorrow to dry. And then tomorrow, while it's pouring with rain, I can work inside fitting the internals into the fridge. So that'll come through about there. Obviously I'll have it turned in the other orientation, but that's where my hole is going to be. Every boat job you ever do turns into a bigger job than you intended. I've taken out all that copper pipe. So this copper pipe supplied water to the forward heads. And it's very old and just nasty, so I've removed it. And then this is the cabinetry for the front of this seat here. But I'm now in a position where I can clean this area properly, drill my hole and paint it. I just want to see how this looks from the outside. That's going to be absolutely fine. That's going to be absolutely fine. You can see from the marks, I looked at lots of different places where I might put this, so I spent some time thinking about it. But that's the best place in relation to everything else, with all other factors taken into account. So I'm going to paint the inside, and that will be dry, so that then tomorrow while it's raining I can fit the internals, and then on Thursday I can seal this all up. It's the next day and I've come back and that paint's all lovely and dry. I've already been here all morning and I didn't film this morning because I just didn't. The manual that you get with this fridge system is really cool. It covers all the different versions, and I recommend reading it from cover to cover. It tells you everything that you need to know about the angle that you can put the compressor at, and where you need to mount the keel cooler, fitting the keel cooler, and the procedures for that. But before I can fit that, I've got to get the old one out. Let's have a look inside of our fridge box and see all the bits that we need to remove. Okay, put these out first. I might need to remove these slats just so I can get my arm in properly with the tools.
A few moments later. Three days later. 3 weeks later. Many months later. One eternity later. 2,000 years later.
There's no room in there for the camera and the screwdriver and my hands, sorry. So that's the old icebox, cooler box unit. So that's going, and the new one is here, which is slightly bigger. So I'm going to have a little bit of a game on my hands. I was hoping that the mounting spacing would be exactly the same and I could just go dunk and stick it back. And then the other thing that I've got to try and do is unwind this and pass these copper pipes through the hole that the stuff came through. Now there is already a hole there, as you'd expect, because I've just taken one out. This is the bit that I'm most nervous of, because the copper pipe, it's actually cupronickel. I've used it before on brake pipes on cars and stuff like that when I've been building racing minis and things, and that's quite forgiving. But the aluminium pipe is not forgiving at all, and if I break that, I've bust it. You can't fix that. If you break this, it's a pain, because you can fix it. I don't want to break anything. I've decided to make the hole in a different place. I think the hole where the pipes and the wires go out of the old one was in a silly place. Let me show you. Here is the hole for the original pipes to go, the coolant pipes and the electrical cable to go through. I'm going to make a new one over here because it'll be a lot easier to access, a lot easier to seal. I can put a plate over that, that'll be fine. So I can plate that up, that's not going to be a problem. But the reason being, the other side is up under here, which is really inaccessible. So if I put the new hole, I'll put it over here somewhere and it'll be a lot easier to get to it. And then I can mount my compressor, you know, on the back wall of here or something like that. This is the hole saw that I used to drill the hole through the hole. It's a 40mm hole saw as specified in the instructions. And I'm just going to pop the piece of the hull out just to show you how thick our hull is. That there is the thickness of the hull where I took the plate out. Let's just measure that thickness. Yeah, it's exactly 1 inch thick. But I'm going to use the same drill bit, I think, to drill through these holes, because what I want to know is if I use this drill bit, can I get these through? Yes, I can. Probably not together, I'll probably have to do them separately, but that hole will be big enough to pass through the fittings you see on the end of the pipes. Phew, yeah, look at that for placement. There's my drill bit. Only just. Wow. Lovely. So I've drilled that through from both sides. As you can see, the construction is very simple actually. It's just apply a fiberglass skin inside a plywood box with a whole load of foam insulation around it. I don't think the foam's even anything particularly special, but that's just the plywood inside of the kitchen cabinet. That's the fiberglass inside of the cool box, and then just a bunch of foam in between. It's dead simple. And the next thing is I want to check that these go through that hole I've made. Have you noticed they're colour coded, by the way? Red, blue, so everything is set up for you. It's dead simple. It's all colour coded, so it's supposed to be idiot proof, which is a good job. So I'm going to just see that these go through, because once this is mounted, I don't want to be faffing around in there with power tools and damaging something. I'm just going to straighten this out very, very gently and very carefully, and position this in a way that I can check that these go through the holes. Right, have we got success? Yeah, look at that. That'll go through there just nice. And then what I'll do is I'll make a plate with some much smaller holes and Sikaflex it with some EBT or some CT1 or something over the top of that to close that hole up and to cover over the old one. I could even fill that with some spray cavity foam as well. On the end of these, there are plastic caps. Don't remove them until you're ready, because these valves, when you screw them together, they gas the whole system. They're pre-gassed, and you can undo them. Unlike others, they're not like a foil thing with a pin that once it's pierced, it's done. It's not a one-shot thing. You can undo them if you need to. You'll hear a psst when you gas it, you know, so you don't want to cross-thread it, because that would lose all your gas. But these plastic caps are there to stop dust getting into the ends of these fittings. So we're not going to remove those at this point. What we're going to do at this point is measure up for our mounting holes for this top unit, which is the bit I'm a bit scared about, because like I say, what I don't want to do is break any of this aluminium pipe. Oh, it all looks like it's cupronickel all the way back to there though, so that's good. Cupronickel is a little bit more robust. It's a bit more difficult to damage, but all the same, treat it with kid gloves. I'm going to make a little template, I think, a drilling template here out of some cardboard or some paper. Okay, so I've mounted the control dial for the thermostat here above the fridge, as above the sink, as you've just seen. These pipes are going to go through the hole. The other thing that's got to go through the hole is this wire here, which is actually not a wire. It's a capillary action tube, piece of aluminium tube, and that attaches to the underside onto this little bracket here. Bend the end of this capillary tube such that it can sit in one side of that groove, go round and come back down the other side like so, and then there's a retaining screw and you tighten that down. So that's why I've just mounted the control unit first, so that I could pass that tube through, and now it's a matter of positioning this in the box. I went out earlier to go to the chandlery to buy some Sikaflex, and it was raining so hard I got so thoroughly soaked to the skin I had to change all my clothes. But they didn't have any Sikaflex. They had this stuff. They had Sabotac 750 XL. So I'm giving it a try. They have assured me that this is their equivalent of Sikaflex for below the waterline, the 912, I think it is. I forget the numbers off the top of my head. But they've got the Sikaflex for above the waterline, but they hadn't got Sikaflex for below the waterline, and they said that they stock this one instead. They reckon it's as good or better. Now, the way this works is, because I'm going to try and put this in and seal it up tonight. That goes in from the outside, so you thread all of this lot through, and then you have a rubber seal that sits in this groove here, and then you have obviously a big fat washer and a plate so you can bond it to your negative to your earth. You can earth bond it, and it even says in the instructions that this can be used as a grounding plate for your SSB. Now, I wondered about that. I actually put a question about that on the internet on a Facebook group, and I wasn't sure. But I should have just looked in the manual, because it specifically says in the instructions for this that this can be used as a grounding plate for an SSB. Whatever the case, it's a two-person job. So Melissa and Jack and Ollie have come over on the bus, because you need somebody to hold it on the outside while somebody else tightens up the nut on the inside. I'm going to take this down now and hopefully find that Melissa is outside the boat waiting. Melissa's here, and there's one stage that I forgot to do. So what we've got to do is post this up, draw round it, and then I've just got to get a grinder and flat wheel and just take off the copper coat in this area.
Oh, it's been absolutely pouring down with rain today. There's been flooding everywhere, and the sun suddenly came out at like 5:30, so I jumped on the bus over from Weymouth to hold the spanner on the outside.
Melissa's just looking at this Sabotac 750 because we've never used it before, so you know, I mean, they're not going to sink the boat, is it? But I'll be disappointed if they've told me porcupines and that it's no good for below the waterline. But that's specific what we were told.
It says it's suitable for the marine industry.
Yeah.
I'm just reading the spec sheet before we whack it on the hull and regret our decision. Yeah, they sell it at Force 4. So Force 4 say that it's a universal adhesive sealant for bonding and sealing both above and below the waterline.
There you go.
I'm happy if an online channel is saying that.
It's sat here on the thing, but the top of the tubes are already in the hole, so it can't fall over.
Masking tape's awful.
Terrible. Some home bargains or something.
We normally buy the yellow or the blue or the green.
Yeah, the frog tape or the yellow stuff's really good, yeah. So this is not our normal masking tape, don't panic.
Oh,
I wanted to continue as well. Okay, drop that into there.
You've got to make sure it's in exactly the right place.
It naturally goes into exactly the right
That's funny.
place, yeah. Okay, so now you have to hold that there while I run up and put the nut on. Doesn't matter about the orientation for now, because you can, once it's tight, I can turn it, you know, put the nut on. Get the Sikaflex there, just in case it needs a dab of extra on the inside.
I think it doesn't need some more, babe.
Yeah.
Will it need some more at this, where it's angled?
No, because it'll pull up really, really tight.
Okay.
But I'll put some more in there just in case. Oops.
No. I can't hear what he's saying. We should have worn those headsets for this.
Cool. It's done.
So there it is. Do you know what's really annoying? Which you're never going to see. Is that this word is upside down. Fridge boat. Fridge boat. Do not paint is upside down. I'm sure it won't make any difference to the performance of the fridge.
That looks okay, doesn't it?
I think so.
Yeah, it looks great. It's all painted out. I'm going to paint this out again in white. So that's red primer that I've put on there. And I masked off the through hull for the paddle wheel so I didn't get any paint or any nasties on it. But that there is the inside of the keel cooler. Tomorrow I'm going to carry on with this while they're doing the engine mounts on the engine. You happy with that? So far so good?
So far so good.
So far
Can't
so
wait to
good.
stock up the fridge.
Yeah, it'd be good.